On a trade deadline bonus edition of Locked On Raptors. The deadline is passed. The Raptors didn't do a whole lot, and it's mostly fine, but man, it would have been nice to get a guard of some kind. Plus, we talked to someone about Trayce Jackson Davis, and that person is way more mad at the Warriors than you are at the Raptors. I can promise you that.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the number one sports podcast network in the land. It is Thursday, February the 5th, and it's the second time today I'm coming at you with a little trade deadline bonus episode. I'm, of course, your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. As always, 100% free to join. Great place. Come talk ball. Now that the trade deadline is over, maybe we'll just talk about actual basketball in there and not future trades in the summer. Good luck. All right, let's get to it. On today's show, we are doing a little recap of the deadline for the Raptors, which are not terribly busy. So we're not even going to go full length. Just a little bonus episode here for you. 2 segments, one with just me and one later on with my pal Sean Keane from the Roundball Rock podcast. He also writes for Golden State of Mind, and he is displeased with the Golden State Warriors' dealings at the deadline. I would be too if Kristaps Porzingis was on my team now. And Sean gives us the lowdown on Trayce Jackson Davis after a bit of a spiral about the Warriors that will make you feel good about where the Toronto Raptors sit. I promise you that. We'll get to that in a little bit, but just want to offer my sort of final thoughts here on what the Raptors did and did not do at the trade deadline. Of course, to recap, they offloaded Ochai Agbaji in a 2032 second-round pick, which is just an insane concept to even think about. The Brooklyn Nets get Ochai and that second-round pick. The LA Clippers get rights to some European guy who will never play in the NBA, and Chris Paul's rights come to the Toronto Raptors. I don't think we've still yet to see official word that he has been waived by the Raptors. Could happen by the time this posts. Does not seem as though Chris Paul is going to be a member of the Toronto Raptors, but he was not officially said to be waived or released in the original team release about the trade. And so fingers crossed that we might actually get to see the retirement tour of Chris Paul in the Toronto Raptors uniform. Wouldn't that be wild? Also, it's just certainly not happening. Anyway, that's the tale of the tape on the deadline, at least on the first deal. The second one is they go and get Trayce Jackson Davis from the Golden State Warriors for a second-round pick. It's the Lakers' second-round pick in this year's draft, the pick they got for Davion Mitchell last year at the deadline then. And so Trayce Jackson Davis continues the storied Jalen McDaniels transaction tree for the Toronto Raptors. And we'll talk about Trayce Jackson Davis. For those who are unaware, he's a third-year player. His first year in the league as a second-round pick for the Warriors, he was quite good. 8 points, 5 boards, shot 70% from the field, was kind of a fringy, maybe this guy will make second-team all-rookie guy for a stretch there. And, I think his name also came up during Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby trade possibilities and, fake trade concoctions with the Warriors during that season as well. And it just never came to fruition. Since then, he's kind of fallen out of favor, and the sort of fit on that team, as we'll get into the Sean in a little bit, just not very good as they kind of further and further moved away from having any kind of shooting on the team outside of Steph Curry. And look, you think about the Raptors, not a terribly good shooting team. Trayce Jackson Davis, a guy who doesn't shoot threes at all, has taken 5 in his career. There are reasons to think, more of the same, right? He's 6'9" and he doesn't shoot threes. Yes, that's very much a Toronto Raptors guy. There is some stuff to like, elbow passing, stuff like that. Throws down cool dunks. Might be, more useful on a team that's not the Golden State Warriors, who'd kind of lost their use for him. I wouldn't be sort of penciling in Trayce Jackson Davis to do a whole lot for the Raptors. He very much feels like insurance for Jakob Poeltl at this point. And if Poeltl can come back, then I think Trayce Jackson Davis will just end up being a guy who floats at the back end of the bench and doesn't have his team option, it's the team option for next year picked up in the summer, and they move on with their day. But maybe he's around. Maybe he shows out if Pirtle can't come back and they keep him around for a couple $1 million for next year or some depth. Either way, this was all that was probably ever going to happen for the Raptors at the deadline. And I feel like we set that expectation quite a bit. Yes, on this podcast, I entertained fake trades a bunch because that's what you got to do. But it never felt terribly realistic that they were going to go and make some kind of big move that would have changed their ceiling all that much for this season, right? It was always duck the tax, and this season always has been a let's see what you got kind of year. Get into the playoffs, hopefully, see what's there, see how you perform, learn about your guys, and in the summer you kind of reevaluate. And that has always been a very viable path for this team, and I think it still remains a very viable path. I know the concept of the Eastern Conference being very wide open has been a thing that's been kind of tossed around of why didn't the Raptors go for it? I don't think there was a move out there where the Raptors could go for it this year without compromising themselves for many, many years to come with, picks out the door, big contracts, whatever. Like, I think they're fine to just let it ride. They're 30-22. I know the loss to the Wolves last night stung. There have been some bad losses lately. They also are like less than 2 weeks removed from beating the Oklahoma City Thunder and having a 4-1 Western Conference road trip. Like, this team, they've had their ups and downs, but they're generally a pretty good team that I think has done more than enough to warrant just being kept together and not totally fractured with midseason trades. And we'll see where the chips fall. Even if they are doomed to lose in the first round, that does not mean it's a waste of a season. It does not mean it's a not successful season, right? Like, plenty of good seasons finish with first round exits. It's all about preseason expectations, and they are shooting well ahead of those expectations right now, even if they end up falling in the first round of the playoffs. All of that said, there was one move that took place on Wednesday or Thursday, I guess is the day, who knows, that made me feel a little bit like, Raptors couldn't have gone in on that. It was when Ayo Dosunmu was traded along with Julian Phillips to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 second-round picks. And that one to me felt like a bit of a, the Raptors really could have used Ayo Dosunmu. I've been talking about Ayo Dosunmu for months on this show. I think he's really good. I think he's a very slept-on, solid player. I'm surprised the Bulls did not want to pay him to keep him around. But he's on the Wolves now, and I freaking love it for the Wolves. It's such a good pickup for them. So good. The Wolves are a very good team, as we saw last night, and they just added a very good player without giving up anyone in their rotation. Shout out Rob Dillingham, by the way. The Jakob Poeltl pick. Interesting stuff. For the Raptors, 4 second-round picks, that's attainable, right? Like, second-round picks are just monopoly money. They're not a thing. They don't really matter. I don't think you can get them at any time for offloading certain players. You can buy them literally on the night of the draft if you want. I don't, second round picks to me, like, you could say 8 second round picks. I'm like, all right, sure. That's basically nothing, especially with Ayo Dosunmu, who, he is ostensibly a rental in theoretically, if you're the Raptors picking him up. He's an expiring contract. He's going to be a UFA this summer. And it's not as though he's someone who you would have like a ton of leeway to resign if you also want to keep a guy like Mamu in house. You would have his bird rights. It's easier to keep him than it is Mamu because you don't have his bird rights because he's on the 1 year minimum. But, it would have given you maybe some options. If Mamu walks, you get to at least keep Ayo Dosunmu, all that stuff. But even as a rental, I think 4 second-round picks and the matching salary to go make it happen would have made some sense. I kicked it around. I think Ochai Agbaji plus Jonathan Mobo would have gotten you there to both duck the tax and bring back Ayo Dosunmu if you attach those 4 second-round picks. Now, like, the quality of the second-round picks, I haven't looked into the exact details of what exact picks are going back to the Bulls here. Maybe they really value Leonard Miller or Rob Dillingham for some reason in a way they wouldn't value Ochai Agbaji or even Grady Dick if he was to be involved in a trade like that. There are a million reasons why trades go down and why they don't go down for the teams that don't make those trades happen. But I think generally speaking, the need for a guard on this team is real. I really like Jamal Shed, but I think we've seen in a lot of these close games that if he's the guy running point to move Emmanuel quickly off ball as you try to close games, it's a little bit tough. And I think it's just asking a lot of Jamal Shed and kind of overextending him. If you had another guard in there, like Ayo and quickly running as the backcourt to close games in a game like last night against the Wolves, maybe that gets you by. Obviously there are going to be a lot of games where RJ closes as well, and you won't have Jamal Shed out there, but we saw last night the limitations of that as well. All told, like, again, it's not a disaster they didn't go make a trade for a guard. It's not like a fireable offense or anything like that the Raptors could not find a way to get another guard on board. The guards they would have been shopping for, none of them would have like changed their lives substantially. It just would have made things a little bit easier for the rest of this season. And then, hopefully in the playoffs, but like you're not getting like gigantic, huge playoff difference making guards at the deadline for a package of a bunch of second round picks. I get that. It's fair. And so, yeah, like standing pat is a perfectly viable way to go here. I'm glad they didn't go get Domantas Sabonis. I'm glad they didn't go and get stupid that way, trying to sort of optimize the team for right now, overreacting to the Jakob Poeltl situation. Poeltl's situation's not great right now. We don't know when he's going to play. We don't know when he's going to be healthy. The contract looks like a problem, but I think jumping into Domantas Sabonis now is on the team, and this is the guy we're paying $45 million to for the next couple of years. I think that would have been a mistake and a little short-sighted as well. So outside of going to get a guard on the cheap, I think the thing they've done, standing pat, getting some depth in the front court, and ducking the tax, as teams are wont to do, I think was a totally justifiable thing. With that, we're going to send it off to the second part of today's bonus episode with my pal Sean Keane from Roundball Rock and Golden State of Mind. I asked him about Trayce Jackson Davis. Don't worry, we get to it, but I did just sort of like barely prompt him with a question about Kristaps Porzingis off the top, and the can of worms it opened was pretty delightful. So I'll just play the whole thing for you in its entirety. We'll get to that coming up in just 1 second here on your trade deadline reaction bonus episode. Today's show is brought to you by friends over at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help you move your business forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, certifications, and location. It's a huge time saver. If you're someone who spends time hiring at your job, it can be a big time sink for you. You're spending less energy sorting through fewer mismatches. It's a lovely thing to have sponsored jobs, getting those posts right in front of the people who you want to be hiring. And there's a stat here that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show get $75 in a sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Today's show is also brought to you by TurboTax. I hate doing my taxes. It's stinky. It's no fun. And tax season is kind of a nightmare for an independent contractor like me. But it doesn't have to be that way, because tax season is now easy with TurboTax full service. You can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the guesswork or the stress. Instead of just spending hours trying to figure out your own forms, get all the stuff in order, you just meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2 to self-employment forms and work to get you every single deduction, so you don't have to do all that use all that brain power to do it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February the 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. And lastly, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. And it's the last time for you to bet on football this Sunday, this season. It's one final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get into the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn to plays, stats turn to storylines, and every snap feels bigger. Also, you can bet on Gatorade colors and how long the anthem will be. If you're a new customer, just bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season, it's over. If you didn't know that, it's done. The Super Bowl, it's the last game. That last call for football that is on Sunday on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Joining me now on the podcast, a dear pal from the Roundball Rock podcast in Golden State of Mind. It is the wonderful Sean Keane. Sean, I'm sorry Kristaps Porzingis is on your team, and that's how the Jonathan Kuminga thing ended.
It's brutal. Like that was not. I was expecting something terrible, but not that terrible. Like, well, not only does he have a questionable past and he's always hurt, he has a mysterious illness that has lasted a year. It's like, it just sounds like the beginning of a sci-fi story where it's like 7'2" Latvian man infected with space virus that just makes him weak and angry. It just feels like this is Bizarro Andres Biedrins again. Like another weird, probably a creep. So it's a bummer. I understand that they wanted to get rid of Buddy Hield's salary, and Buddy Hield was not playing that well. But Buddy Hield is a delightful player to have around. Like, he does not take seriously. Jimmy Butler's already having ACL surgery on Saturday. Like, can he have a friend to hang out with and a weird European man who might have a deadly plague? I don't know. I mean, it's just the most disappointing outcome. And it's just so funny how the Warriors have so much confidence with these deals, but somehow don't know how to do basic back channeling things that everybody in the NBA does. Like last year, they got to the point where they surprised Kevin Durant with a trade proposal. And before you arrange that deal, you don't have anyone that can text him. Like I know you're not supposed to tamper, but like, can Steph just be like, is it really illegal for Steph Curry to send a text message saying, do you want to come to the Warriors? Yeah. Y or N? And they didn't do that. And with Giannis, it seems like the same thing. It seems like he had no interest in going to the Warriors, probably at any point. And why would he have? And yet they put all their eggs in that basket to the point where Draymond Green, who deserves to be traded, but they put him in trade rumors and made him ask questions about getting traded and then didn't trade him. He's basically like going back to a wife who had an affair with him, with his friend. You know what I mean? Like, I just like it made me sympathetic for Draymond Green. So I guess they have bird rights on Kristaps Porzingis now.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. They're gonna give him too much money, probably, or they'll wait too long to trade him.
I didn't know I was going to open this can of worms when I asked you about Kristaps Porzingis, but here we are.
Yeah.
You are ostensibly here, Sean.
Yes.
To talk about Trayce Jackson Davis, who plays for the Toronto Raptors now. Another guy who used to be a Warrior, who's no longer. Another young guy in his early to mid 20s who the Golden State Warriors were like, not for us. We want to play guys who are 35 or older.
Yeah, little too athletic for us, guys.
So, yeah, Sean, Trayce Jackson Davis, what's the deal? He was really good as a rookie, as a second-round pick. And then has kind of fallen further and further out of favor in the rotation in the last couple of years. And this year is playing like 11 minutes a game in not all of the games and not doing a whole lot. Why? Are the Raptors getting someone who is, in fact, not good? Or is he someone who got Steve Kerr'd and is perhaps a little bit more effective than the Warriors have given him license to be over the last couple of years?
I would say he's not really good. But when you're going for, there are like things he can do. Okay. He blocks shots, but is kind of not great defensively. But on a normal NBA team that wasn't the Warriors and starting, Draymond Green, a weird power forward who only shoots threes and can't make threes anymore, and Jimmy Butler, who does not shoot threes, he basically could not play alongside that normal shooting free starting lineup. And so weirdly, he had a couple things that made him a great fit for the Warriors. One is that his brother his agent is the general manager's brother. I believe
Great.
his agent is Steve Dunleavy.
Okay.
And his father was an NBA player. And the Warriors somehow had, I think, 5 guys on the roster whose dads played in the NBA. It was the Curry brothers, him, Gary Payton II, and Al Horford. And there
Right.
might be more.
Klay Thompson at one point too, and
they love that. They love it so much. Oh, they had Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins' dad was on the NBA.
like the Toronto Blue Jays before Bo Bichette left.
Yes. It really felt like
right
that.
at home.
Yeah. He basically he's good at dunking. He can get rebounds. The Warriors just converted to Quentin Post because Quentin Post can kind of shoot threes, and Trayce Jackson Davis can't, but just does
not 5
more
attempted
than
threes in his career.
Yeah, and I mean, not even that, but I can't really remember him shooting more than 10 feet from the basket, which is sort of an issue with the Raptors, but they really just need a backup center. They're not looking for a stretch 5. I mean, I guess they kind of are, but
that's what Mamu's for. He's
exactly.
The whole team
is
is
not taking
6'9".
Mamu's minutes.
Yeah,
that's like the most important thing for them to avoid. But if you have this guy starting the second and fourth quarter and playing 4 minutes, he will be fine. That is not super valuable, but it's also not nothing. And also you can play him for 25 minutes if you need to, and he is not embarrassing. He is not really that. He's probably only like 6'9", I think. But
Raptors special Vision 6'9" is back.
Yeah. But he does do cool dunks, which makes me appreciate him. His college highlights are basically just him putting back offensive rebounds. And for the Warriors, where many people have no vertical leap whatsoever, it's pretty exciting. Yeah, like Jimmy Butler dunked a few times and it cost him his ACL. So and now luckily they have an incredibly brittle man replacing the spry Jonathan Kuminga. So the Warriors will see like 4 or 5 dunks the rest of the season.
As far as like these dunks, Sean, I'm intrigued by the dunks a little bit. I'm looking at the numbers here. It says here 112 dunks as a rookie. I think that would have led the Raptors the last 4 seasons. This is a team that has not dunked very much. 101 dunks his second year, even 31 dunks this year in just 11 minutes a game played across 36 games. I'll take that as a dunk per game ish ratio.
Yeah. I mean,
are these dunks just are they just garbage dump off dunks? Is he like a pick and roll lob threat at all? What is the flavor of dunk we're looking at here?
I would say it's a lot of dunker spot dunks, putbacks, but if the Warriors ran more pick and roll, he would be fine at it. He seems like he sets picks perfectly fine. And when they had, basically he was pretty effective when they had a more normal offense. I have trouble judging big man defense. He gets killed by Anthony Davis, but that's not that unique. He seems like he's fine against DeAndre Ayton. You know what I mean? So, he's not an all defensive player, but he can run a pick and roll. I think actually he's a nice fit with Scotty Barnes, a guy who loves to hit open guys in the paint. So, again, his departure makes the Warriors more depressing, so I assume it would make the Raptors less depressing. Also, he kind of has almost like a beefy Chris Boucher body. You know what I mean? He is very long, I think, except, again, without the defining Chris Boucher characteristic of being able to shoot from more than 6 feet from the hoop.
Again, not a thing the Raptors ever really care about.
It's not a priority, really.
No, it's frankly cowardly to shoot so far from the rim when you could actually dunk it instead.
Yeah.
Sean, this has been a great if slightly underwhelming pitch on Trayce Jackson Davis. I'm sorry about the Warriors. Anything you want to promote for the good people out there before I let you get back to your day thinking about what the team looks like with Kristaps Porzingis on it?
Yeah, just check out the Roundball Rock podcast, I think. If you're in San Francisco, I'm doing a show at the Punchline Friday, February 6th, but I assume some of your listeners are in Canada.
We do have some American listeners. We might have a San Francisco listener or two.
Yeah. I mean, if you mention Locked On Raptors to me, I will give you a firm handshake and or a kiss on the cheek or both. So that's a promise.
The Sean Keane promise. Yeah. Anyway, talk to you all out there soon. We'll be back again Friday talking Raptors Bulls, which is going to be weird because have you seen that Bulls roster? I don't know what's going on there. I do know that Ayo Dosunmu is not on the Raptors, and that makes me a little bit sad. But do the things. Join the Discord, link in the description of the podcast. Join the Everydayer Club. $5 a month gets you ad-free episodes of the show, and you can use the code DEADLINE for a free first month as well, which is very cool. And we'll talk to you Friday. Enjoy Raptors Bulls, and see ya. Bye. Damn it.